This story time is a traumatic one. This one is something that changed the trajectory of like who I am so much. And it only happened a year ago. I mentioned this story in my open relationships video, but it was during me opening my relationship that I met this person that I'm about to talk about, the 365 party boy, which if you know what that is. And I'll mention it in a minute. I just got to get past the 30 seconds so YouTube doesn't demonetize me. But he ruined my life, but also made it a lot better because I learned a lot about myself in that moment, and I haven't dated anyone since, and for good reason. Like, there's no way that I could do this again for a really long time. I need a break from men completely because this was just so chaotic and so quick. Like I mentioned in the open relationships video, this was like all in a month time span, and it's a wild ride. So like, I don't even know where to begin with it, but I guess I'll just begin with the open relationship part because that's what created this whole situation with this guy. But anyway, hey guys, I'm Mitch Mangione. Welcome to my story time about the 365 party guy, aka a head. So last year, or actually the open relationship started at the end of 2023 with the guy that I moved to Austin with this guy. We opened our relationship shortly after getting here because I wanted to allow him to explore his life because he was only 23. And I just felt like, I'm 34. I've had a lot of life experiences, a lot of guy experiences, I've lived in a lot of different cities, and I wanted him to like feel the same. I wanted him to explore, and I didn't want him to feel held down by me. And I also selfishly wanted to hook up with guys as well here and check out the guys in Austin because they are really, if you haven't been to Austin before, I think out of all the cities I've lived in, Austin has the hottest men I've ever seen in my life. Straight, gay, whatever the they are so hot here. And so I wanted to partake and I wanted him to partake. And side note, if you watch the other video, my ex told me literally as soon as we started dating that he eventually wanted to be in an open relationship and that he wanted someone that was okay with that. And at first I was not okay with that. But as time went on and we had our issues, I decided, you know what, maybe an open relationship will help kind of bring us back together, which it absolutely did not. And my friend even was like, okay girl, let me know when you guys break up because this isn't gonna last. And I was like, oh no, it's gonna be perfect, we're gonna be amazing. And it wasn't. We ended up breaking up shortly after starting the open relationship. But fast forward a few months after we started the open relationship, I really wasn't vibing with it, and I talked about this in the other video as well, so if you want to see the full story, go watch that. But TDLR, I ended up getting jealous. I'm a jealous person. I didn't want to know anything about what he was doing, but he made it super clear what he was doing, and so that bothered me. And so I started to not be interested in the relationship at all anymore, not just the open relationship. And so I met this guy, and he was also around 24 years old. He was super hot. He was an Aquarius, which I'm always attracted to Aquariuses. That's like an Aries, literal perfect match. And so it was an instant connection. But he messaged me on Grindr one morning, and I usually go for a really long walk every single morning. No matter what, I always go on a really long walk. And he was messaging me, and I was telling him like, I'm about to go on a walk. He asked if he could come along. I was like, okay. Like, we weren't even talking sexual at all. This was literally just like a friendly conversation. And he asked if he could come along. I was like, sure, yeah, come walk with me. Whew. Ooh, as soon as I see this man come downstairs, I am just like, oh, I already know this is gonna be a problem. Like, I'm already instantly attracted to this man. He is so sexy, like so sexy, so my type. And I didn't know he was an Aquarius at this time, so that didn't play into this. But just him as a human being, he has this like aura of he's just sexy. And he had these beautiful blue eyes, beautiful blonde hair. He was taller than me, which I really like. And even though I'm a top, like, I love to find bottoms that are more masculine or taller or just the complete opposite of me. And he was that, and he was a bottom. So that was nice. Again, we started out just talking friendly, all of this stuff. So we go on the walk. I go on a pretty long walk, so I don't know that he was ready for that, but we went on a really long walk. We walked through the trails. We were talking. It was really just really comfortable, like immediately just comfortable with him. I was like, okay, I'm digging this. I'm digging this. And so we finished the walk. I go back, like I have to get ready for work and everything. So we say our goodbyes. He texts me like immediately as soon as we part. And he's like, you are so cute. And I was blown away. Like, yes, I know that I'm cute, okay? But I didn't expect it from him because he was just like this like godly creature to me. And a lot of people that like met him and stuff, they were like, he's not that hot. And I'm like, yes, he is. Whatever. I don't really care. Everyone has their own little types and I am all over the map with my type, but I thought he was so fucking hot. And so he messages me, he says I'm cute, and I'm like freaking out because I was not expecting this. I just thought we were gonna just be friendly and maybe go on walks together and stuff, but he was throwing it down, which is awesome because normally I'm the one that has to like make the effort to like get someone interested, but he was throwing it down, calling me cute, love bombing the shit out of it. I should have known the red flags right then and there and moved on, but I didn't. And there were other red flags as we were walking and talking, like the fact that, you know, he's living with his boyfriend who's not his boyfriend anymore. They've been fighting. They're not, whatever, they're not together. And I was like, oh, you know, same here. Like we're in an open relationship right now. So, you know, we're not really like on the same page either. And oh, floor hurts so bad. But we weren't on the same page either, blah, blah, blah. So we were like lamenting about that together. Those were other red flags. And I mean, I was a walking red flag at the same time also. Like I'm in an open relationship. I'm not happy. I'm just like all over the map with everything. And so we continue talking, and the next day I go over to his place. We still haven't like hooked up or anything. I don't even think we had made out at this point. But I went over to his place in the morning because I wanted to just continue the conversation and we wanted to see each other. And all of a sudden he comes out, I'm sitting on the couch, he comes out and he brings out a little bag of and I'm like, oh, okay. You know, like I'll do it every once in a while, like maybe once every 3 years, like if I'm at a New Year's party or something, but like it's definitely not my norm. I'm a total stoner and that's what I like, but that's basically it. I barely even drink. So I like to get high and that's it. God created it. It was not man-made. Anyway, he brings out this bag of and he says, this is my once in a while bag. Girl, please. I should have known then. With those few words, I should have known that this was not gonna be good. And so, of course, my naive self, when I'm like attracted to someone, I ignore every single red flag that is actually possible. Every single one. Every single one. It doesn't even matter if people around me are like, Mitch, bro, like, what are you even doing? This person is a mess. Like, what is happening? And I'm just like, no, they're not. They're so perfect. They said it's their once in a while bag, and I totally believe them. God, I'm so stupid sometimes. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And so I end up doing it with him in the middle of the day, which is like also never something that I do. And then he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to work now. I'm sorry, sir. Wait, what? Like, you're gonna go to work. That's, okay, so there's so many red flags already. Oh my gosh, this really hurts my ankles. I'm gonna have to move like this. There were so many red flags here that I'm just like shooketh that I didn't do anything about that then. Like maybe I just friend zoned him at that point. Like we could still go out together, hang out or whatever, but I didn't. And so I did with him and he's going to work. And so I'm like in my head, are you absolutely kidding me that you're going to work? And it still didn't really trigger a response from me to end this, but that's when I realized like, okay, this can't be an only once in a while bag situation because people that do this once in a while don't go to work high on coke. You know what I mean? So that was like really weird to me. So we continue to talk, we continue to hang out. I see this boy every single day of my life for like the next month. I end up starting to go out with him. We go out. I remember one of the first times that we went out, I had so much fun with him. I got so drunk with him. I actually didn't black out, which was very rare for me to not black out. I have an issue with drinking. Not like I'm an alcoholic issue, just I don't know why like even since I was like in high school going to parties, I just black out really quickly and easily. I'm a very lightweight, I'm a very cheap date. And so I didn't black out, but I remember everything so vividly. Like we had such a good time and a good connection. We were just like bar hopping, holding hands throughout the city, making out in front of everybody. People were telling us we were so hot together. And I was like, oh my God, this could like totally be like the start of a power couple. And I remember this specific scene where we're just like up against this wall and there's like homeless people right around us. And we're just like making out against this wall. And this is probably like 2 weeks into our relationship. And he stops kissing me and he's like, I think I love you. I was so taken aback, but at the same time so flattered because weirdly I kind of felt the same way. And I don't know if it was just like alcohol, drugs, lust, whatever, but I think I did love him. Maybe not in love with him, but I loved him. And I was like, I could see myself like being with this person for a really long time. And I never really felt like that with a lot of the people that I've been with. It was always like such trauma in the beginning of my relationships that I never really saw them as something that could be long term. And so I tell him I love him back. And now we're dating and in love 2 weeks into the relationship. And mind you, I'm still dating my ex. Like we're still together in this open relationship, but I haven't mentioned this boy at all because I was petrified of like my whole world coming crashing down, which actually did happen shortly, which I'll tell you. So from there, it's just this whirlwind. And I'm going out with him every night. I'm going to the gay bars. I'm doing in the bathrooms. I did it on the dance floor. Like I went to afters, which is so not me. Like I think that is so scummy. I think afters are just weird. Like literally all an after is you go to somebody's house, everyone's just either f***ing or doing coke or other drugs. And I'm just like, this isn't my thing. Like I went with him to this after and I literally couldn't talk. I didn't talk to anybody. I felt so out of place. He was like talking to everybody, ignoring me. And that was another sign of like, oh, maybe this isn't gonna work. Because I hate being ignored. Like if you're gonna bring me somewhere, don't ignore me. Like, what do you mean? You're supposed to be introducing me to all your friends being like, look at my hot boyfriend. Duh. And so he wasn't doing that. And so I was like, okay, well, what the f? And I never went to an after with him again because I just don't like them. And I go to bed so early. And at this point in time, I was staying up until like 5 a.m. and getting to work at 9 a.m. It was a whirlwind. I was a mess. I was hungover at work every day. I'm never like that. I was like calling out. I was leaving early. I just wasn't feeling good. It was because I was getting no sleep. I was out. I was drinking every night with this boy and it was insane. It was insane. I was insane. And this next thing I'm about to tell you is actually insane. Okay, so one night we went out, we come back, we're sitting outside my apartment, we're just like making out, cuddling outside, smoking cigarettes and smoking vapes and whatever. And I don't smoke cigarettes, by the way. It's just sometimes when I'm drunk, like if someone offers me one, I will. But with him, it was like we were just smoking. I was doing all the things I shouldn't have been doing with him because I wanted him so badly. And we're smoking cigarettes and all of a sudden he tells me that he like wants me to propose to him. Like I don't remember exactly the conversation, how this happened, but he wanted me to propose to him. I was like, you want to get married? Like you were with your ex for like 7 years and you guys never thought about that, but we're dating for like 3 weeks at this point and you want to get married? And so yeah, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I started Googling wedding rings and everything. Wow. F***ing delusional. I was f***ing delusional. Like that was so delusional. So I'm looking up wedding bands. I'm like, let's go do it in Vegas. I booked our Vegas trip so we could go get married at one of the f***ing chapels or get married by Elvis or something. Like I was fully invested in this. And so was he, apparently, until you find out what happens next. And so we're planning this Vegas trip. We're planning this. At this point, I have not broken up with my boyfriend yet. Him and his boyfriend were broken up, but they were still living together. So that was a whole situation that stressed me out because I was just jealous. And I was just like, are they still hooking up? Like, is he, they've been together for a while. I get it. I was with someone for 6 years. Like we've met up multiple times throughout the years and we've hooked up randomly. It happens when you're with someone for so long and then you see each other again or whatever, that kind of stuff can happen. And so I was always stressed about that. And so we're almost at this Vegas trip. We're almost getting there. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Like this hurts my feet so bad on this floor. I need like my socks or something, but I don't feel like grabbing them. But we were about to go on this Vegas trip. And then all of a sudden, one morning, literally the night before, we had the best night ever. We were talking about wedding, everything. And he blew me in the stairwell of my apartment. That was hot. And we went our separate ways. He went back to his apartment. I went to mine. By the way, side note, he lived in the same apartment complex as me. So it was easy to just like part. And so he went to his room or his apartment. I went to my apartment. And then a few hours later in the morning, I get a knock at the door and it's his ex. And funny thing is that I didn't mention, I actually f***ed his ex like months before I had met Grayson because they were in an open relationship at that point before they broke up. And so I f***ed his ex a few months before that. And I never did tell Grayson that because I didn't want him to know. He ended up finding out later, but I didn't want him to know in the beginning and be weird about it. And he wouldn't have been weird about it, come to find out. But anyway, because I mean, they were open. So like, he can't expect that to not happen, especially like when we all live in the same apartment. But I get this knock at the door and it's his ex. And he's like, have you talked to Grayson? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, he just got arrested. What? Huh? I literally just saw this boy like 3 hours ago. And so apparently when Grayson had gotten back to his apartment, his ex was hooking up with someone. And that was their rule. Even though they were broken up, they weren't allowed to bring guys into the apartment if the other one was gonna be home or coming home or whatever. Because me and Grayson hooked up in his apartment, but his ex was at work. And so he knew that. But this was a situation where his ex knew that Grayson was gonna be coming home at some point. And so he walked into them hooking up. And Grayson was out. And so apparently, I don't know whose story is right because they both tell different ones. But apparently, Grayson comes in and freaks out and starts like yelling at the other boy to get the F out. And so then his ex intervenes and starts pushing him, punching him, his ex was crazy as too. They're both crazy. And maybe I'm crazy too because I was I was involved with both of them. But they just start fighting and stuff. There's blood being strewn and it's not as bad as you think, but it's dramatic. They're making it dramatic. And so the cops get called. The dude that was there hooking up with his ex called the cops. And so the cops come, and because Grayson had drew blood on his ex, he got taken to jail. Even though his ex was the one that started the problem. But because they had his ex and the ex's buddy saying that this is what happened, they believed them two over Grayson. And maybe Grayson was lying too. He was a pathological liar, come to find out. And he goes to jail. And so I'm like, what do I do? And my ex sees this happen and he just looks at me and he's like, you are a mess. And at that time, I had broken up with him. We broke up like a few days before that because he found out about Grayson. He found out that I was interested in Grayson because his ex came over because his ex saw my ex in the elevator and was like, yo, Mitch and Grayson are like really hitting it off. They're like dating, basically. And so my ex sat me down a few days before this whole jail incident and he said, I heard about Grayson and that's okay. Like we're in an open relationship. I'd be okay with you dating both of us. And that just felt so weird to me. I couldn't do it. So right then and there, I was like, I think we need to break up. Like I just broke up with him right then and there. And to this day, like seeing his face, like after I said that truly broke my heart. And it still breaks my heart even thinking about it. Like I really wish I went about all of this in a better way. But thinking back on everything, hindsight is 2020, and like he did a lot of things to me that I didn't like, and I probably should have broken up with him sooner. I shouldn't have let it get to this point to where I'm like dating somebody else during a relationship. And I actually texted my ex the other day to see how he was, and he basically said, I don't want to be friends with you. Like I still want to date you. And I was like, you still want to date me? What? Like mind blown. But anyway, back to the story. Grayson goes to jail. I'm his one phone call, which I was like the delusional thing that I was doing during this whole situation was not like, bro, you need to get out of this. Like, don't even answer it if he calls you. Me, the entire time, I'm thinking, I hope he calls me over his ex. That's what I was worried about. I was worried about him calling me over his ex because I still wanted him so bad. And I was still planning on going to Vegas and marrying him. Lord help me. Lord help me. And I was the one he called. I was so excited too. And so I go and pick him up from the jail. He's crying in my car, telling me the whole story. Can't believe you're not gonna leave me. And I should have been like, yeah, I am gonna leave you. I should have left him. No, but I know. I took him home. I told him we're still gonna go get married. We're still gonna go do all this stuff. Like obviously he has some shit that he has to work out now. He has to go to court, all the things. But this still didn't penetrate my mind that like this is not going to work. That this person is psychotic. Like this is not going to end well for you. You've already spent I spent all of my savings. All of it. I had like 10,000 in savings. I spent that in 1 month going out, partying. I didn't get anything tangible for it. It was all liquid that I pissed out. I never did buy though. Just to put that out there, I've still never bought myself. He still always bought it. I was never going to input my money into that because that wasn't what I wanted. That was what he wanted to do and he wanted me to partake with him. So I was never going to pay for that. I spent all of my savings on him. And that's the trouble with me when I get into relationships. I've mentioned this in other videos. I put every single ounce of my being into someone when I like them, when I'm really into them. I put everything on the back burner. I spend all of my money. I ruin everything. I ruin relationships. It's really toxic. And that's something that that's why I haven't dated again since this situation, which was May of 2024 because I'm just like, I cannot be like that anymore. I really have to grow and I have to get better about this situation with guys because it's becoming ridiculous. Like I've done this my entire life since I came out at 13. I always fill everyone else's buckets except for mine when I like them. And so at this point, we're talking about moving in together because his apartment lease is coming up and him and his ex are gonna have to part ways. And Grayson at this time also didn't really have a job. He had just gotten hired at a job, got fired, and then got another one. Such a mess. I knew he couldn't afford an apartment. And I selfishly also wanted him to be with me all the time. So I told him before the jail incident that he could move in with me at some point. And after the jail incident, he sits me down and he's like, I want to talk to you about something. Okay. He says that he asks if he could move in with me when his lease is up. And I didn't even hesitate. I said, yes, of course. Of course. Like, I want you here. I want you here. I want to help you, like, get better. Everything. I didn't tell him this, but in my head, that's what I was thinking. Like, I want to help you get better and become a really good human being. Even though I'm not necessarily the best human being, I always love to help others. And so he ends up moving in. I loved him moving in because he had so much stuff and I'm very minimal and it like made my apartment so cute. But anyway, so we're doing good. Everything's fine. But then one day my jealous streak peeks its big old head around the corner. And this is one thing I'll never do again. I'll never share my location or let someone share their location with me. He shared his location with me. I was so happy. No guy has ever done that before. That was like, I felt like such trust in that because I was like, wow, I'm gonna know where he is at all times. But I also didn't like it because I was checking where he was at all times. It was bad. It was like an addiction, more than I have opening my YouTube Studio app. Hold on, my foot is asleep. I gotta fix this. Be right back. Oh. But okay, so he shares his location with me and I'm like super excited. But like I said, I'm checking it all the time and it like is driving me insane. One day while I'm at work, I notice that he's like going somewhere and he's there for a while. And like, he didn't say anything about where he was going, whatever. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't know what happened here. So he's at work when I get off of work. He left his iPad on and unlocked, and that was connected to his phone. And so I looked at his messages. That's another thing I wish I could get better at. But when I don't trust someone, my gut is strong. Your gut is always right, no matter what you say. And so my gut was screaming, look at it, look at it, look at it, look at it. I did. So I did. I read his messages and there was a message from a guy that was like talking about hooking up or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, just like, are you fucking kidding me? Because I've dealt with cheaters a lot in the past and I'm just like so over that era. So I'm like, here we go again. He literally just moved in and he's already like cheating on me. Like that's obviously where he went today. And so I spiral. I go buy a pack of cigarettes. I go downstairs and I chain smoke cigarettes for like 2 hours until he gets home. He comes home. I'm passive aggressive as shit. He walks in and I'm just like, hey. He's probably like, what the hell? I didn't say anything at first. I let him do his thing. He showered, whatever. By the way, at this point, we're only a month in and we've had sex like maybe twice and like we barely do it. Like we barely talk about it. It barely happens. He barely engages. And so I'm like, what is happening here? Like when we would have sex, he'd be like, are you done yet? And it's only a month in, so that's not a good sign. And so I noticed that he's jerking off in the bathroom, like in the shower to porn. And I'm like, I'm literally sitting right here. Like I get it if you guys are together for years and you want to like have your own little porn time or whatever. But he's jerking off to porn right in front of me when we barely are having sex or hooking up. So I'm just like, I'm also pissed about that. I just start to really spiral in my head. And I'm just like, what's happening right now? Like, he's obviously not into me anymore. Like, this is bad. And so when he gets out of the shower, I mentioned the jerking off thing. He's kind of like pissed about it because he's like, why are you bothering me about this? But then I bring up how I had found that information. I saw his location. He was like, well, I want to reassure you that I'm not talking to anyone. That was my friend and he was just saying dumb shit. Don't know if I believe him at this point or not, but whatever. He told me he actually went to buy Coke and he showed me the Coke. So I was like, okay, but he was there for a while. So I'm guessing maybe he was doing Coke while he was there. I don't really know what this boy is ever up to. Okay, fine. So we end up going out. We go out with my friend John, who's a straight guy, who's like the best guy ever. We go to this bar called If You Know, You Know in Austin, and we do in the bathroom. We're hanging out and everything. And then all of a sudden I get too messed up. and I start to berate Grayson. And I basically tell him like 3 times at the bar, like, I don't want you doing coke anymore. I don't like this whole situation. It annoys him physically, I can tell. So then we go home and he ends up sleeping on the couch. And this is definitely a me problem here. I can definitely be like berating when I'm not getting an answer. Like I always have to know why. And I don't know if that's me being an Aries or just me being annoying. I don't know. I always have had to know why. Like why? Why are you feeling like this? I like to get to the bottom of things so we can move on and figure shit out. I don't like to hold things in. I hold things in, but I don't like when other people hold things in toward me when I can tell something's going on. He's just like, I just need to be alone right now. Like, okay, but then I continue to berate him. I go back to my room, lay there, fume a little bit, come back out, say more shit. And at this point, he's like covering his face with his blanket and he's just like, leave me alone. Like, I can't stand you berating me, blah, 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 blah. Then I end up going to bed. I wake up the next day and he's gone. Okay, well, I figure he's just like upset with me or whatever. He's not answering my texts at all. He still has his location on. So I see that he's out and about in the town. Looks like he went to the same place to buy coke again. And so I'm really not understanding what's happening. He's not replying to me, all of this stuff. And I'm just like, okay, something is happening. Something is happening. And of course, a few days before that, he had logged into his email on my phone to check something. He didn't log out. So I see the emails on my phone, a U-Haul notification for the next day. So he's getting a U-Haul already after he just moved in 2 weeks prior to move out because of how I acted in that one day. I get that I was a little overwhelming, but to me, to want to move out when there's a little bit of trouble just shows that you weren't really invested in the first place. Like, bro, you wanted to marry me and you were gonna just jump and run at the teeniest little inconvenience. And so I'm just completely broken at this point. I'm broken. I've been going through so much with him. I'm doing this I'm drinking, like my mind is just like a disaster. I'm eating horribly. I'm spending all of this money. And so to get this like U-Haul notification, I was just like, oh my God. First of all, I really liked him. I really liked him. I really did. No matter all the shit. I really liked him and I thought that like I could actually marry this person. And like, even though it was quick and crazy, I could make this work. And like, we're just really compatible in that way. I'm sure that night that he was laying there on the couch while I was sleeping, he was probably talking to his friends, telling them what has happened, that I went through his phone, that I berated him, that I shamed him for jerking off in the shower. And they're probably like, you need to get out. And I agree with them. Like that is a lot. And looking back, that was a lot, but I was also going through a lot and I gave up a lot for this boy. I think I was valid in how I felt and I'm never gonna say I wasn't. So knowing when the U-Haul was gonna come was during a work day, but I still I needed to talk to him. He was not answering me. He was blocking me on everything. I'm like, dude, you still live in my apartment. Like, you really gonna treat me like this? You can't even just you can't even just say, bro, you are fucking crazy, or bro, you went through my phone, I don't want this. Like, you can't, that's all I need. That's all I need. All I need is closure. When you just ghost or block me, it drives me crazy. Like, just tell me what I did. And obviously I knew what I did, but I wanted to hear it from him. That's all I needed. So I leave work early so I can be there when the U-Haul's there. I get back, I see the U-Haul, and it's real now. I see him bringing things into the U-Haul. So I confront him and I'm like, Grayson, what the f? And he's literally just ignoring me. He has those noise canceling Apple headphones on and he's just completely ignoring. And so I berate him and berate him and berate him. And then he finally is just like, look, I'm not gonna talk to you right now. And I'm like, but you're just throwing everything away and not even telling me anything. And he was like, I'm not throwing everything away. I just can't talk to you right now. And I'm like, how is this not throwing everything away? You're ignoring me, you're moving out, and you're probably never gonna talk to me again. Don't tell me that you're not throwing this away because you are. Like, this isn't, like, it doesn't seem like you're gonna work. And he just puts his headphones back on and completely ignores me, moves everything out, and I never see him again. This was like the hardest time I've ever been through. Even the 6-year relationship that I ended, this was harder. And I'll tell you about that story also, because that is also another whirlwind of my life and my mid-20s. But this time, I think it was like partly like me realizing that I actually have some issues that I need to work on, but also that like it was such a quick whirlwind. I ruined someone else's life, like my ex, by breaking up with him out of nowhere for this person that went to jail, wanted to marry me, and then ghosted me all within a month. Like, I ruined so many things for this person. Like, even if my ex and I hadn't worked out, like, I don't think I would have broken up with him like that. I think we would have had like a mutual breakup, like, this isn't working, we're both not happy. But this was just like, oh, like, I wish I could go back in time and like change this whole situation, but I can't. And so I spiral after this. I spiral. I start going out with my friends, getting completely wasted. One of my friends told me that when I was staying at their place after we'd gone out one night, that she woke up and heard me bawling my eyes out in the middle of the night, like uncontrollably bawling. And I don't cry in front of anybody, nobody. Ever. And obviously I didn't know that she was listening, but like, I don't even remember waking up and crying about that. That's how hurt I was. I just was bawling my eyes out. I was blowing his phone up. I was texting him. I was emailing him every possible way, just blowing him up like a crazy psycho. Like a crazy psycho, thinking that he's gonna respond to me. And then I end up just blowing him up with anger and name calling and all this shit, which he deserved, I think. It just really was like a huge spiral for me. And I really needed to get my shit together. And so after a few months of spiraling, I made a decision to myself that I was just gonna, no more drinking, no more going out. I stopped doing at this, because like I only did it with him. It wasn't something that like I needed. And so I stopped all that. I decided I was gonna just like go on a full cleanse and I started the carnivore diet. Like, I really made a lot of great changes after that. So, you know, silver lining, like, this happening really did propel me forward to where I am now as a person. And it really got me thinking about all of the problems that I have personally, not just everyone else around me, because I always like to blame other people around me for like my issues. But this time it was glaringly obvious that the reason that this ended was not because he was a mess. It was because I was being a mess toward him. He was 24, he was messy, but we could, you know, those are things that he could have worked on over time if I had just given him the grace. And I don't want to sit here and make him look like the good guy in all of this, because he really did do me dirty, like really bad. Instead of just like sitting me down and being like, look, maybe we shouldn't live together right now. Maybe we should go separate, but still like continue talking to figure all this out to see if we're compatible. Maybe moving in was too quick, because it was, but this was such a rough patch. Like, it was such a rough patch, and being in my 30s, it just made it even more embarrassing that I let all of that happen to me. And to this day, I wonder, like, what does he think about all this? I really wish I could just sit down with him at this point, now that it's been over a year and a half, and just put everything on the table. Like, I would never want to get back with him, but it would be nice. I love closure. And so like, I would love to just like know exactly what happened in his head, because it's really hard for me to move on from things when I don't know that. I've moved on now because it's been long enough, but it took me a long time to move on from him. Like, for months after, if he would have like reached out and been like, let's get back together, I would have. But here we are, and I'm single, and I want to be. And I'm happy to be. And I've grown so much since then, and I'm continuing to grow, especially on camera with you. Like, me talking all of this stuff out and talking about all my issues and my problems and my toxic behaviors is not something I ever thought I would do. And instead of a therapist, I'm doing it on camera for millions of people. And I love it. I'm really happy at where I'm at right now. And a big part of that was Grayson. But that's the story. I want to know what you guys think, as always. And if you have any stories that you want to share, I'm all ears. But otherwise, catch you in the next video.